We're all busy, and it's not realistic for most of us to sit down for 2 to 3 hours every single day to study a language. But the good news is that you don't need hours every single day. You can make a difference in just 15 minutes. I came up with 5 15-minute strategies that will help you make progress in your language. Every single one is designed to take 15 minutes or less. Don't forget to like this video, comment and subscribe, and now let's get started. Strategy number 1 is to learn from short videos. Ideally, pick a video that is 3 to 5 minutes long so that you can watch it multiple times during those 15 minutes. So what I usually do is I watch it once or twice to just to understand what is going on, and then I write down 5 to 10 words or phrases that I could actually see myself using in real life. A lot of the times, there are so many different phrases and you think, oh, that one's really cool. But what I like to do is think, am I actually going to use that in real life? Do I see myself using this in the next few weeks, few months, right? When you're busy, you don't want to clutter your brain with unnecessary words that you are never going to use. You just want to learn the most important ones. So write them down, and if you still got time left, you can either rewatch the video again to train your listening comprehension, or what I would suggest is to make phrases with those words, and then you just write them down in your notebook or even in your notes app. It can be done wherever you are. It's one thing to hear it and then write it down, but when you start using those words, when you think, how can I use this in a sentence, that really transforms this word from passive vocab into active vocab, and that is something very, very valuable. If you don't have time to write everything down, then you can even just say those sentences out loud. That works too. And what this technique does is it trains your listening comprehension because you are watching the video. It builds your vocab, and then we are transforming that vocab from passive to active. A great resource for this exercise are the Easy Languages videos on YouTube. So Easy French, Easy Spanish. They are just essentially street interviews, so you get exposed to real life spoken language. And if the video is longer than 5 minutes, then you can just either spend more time doing this exercise, or you can just split it in half and watch one half one day and the other half the next day. That works too. The second strategy involves podcasts, and don't worry, I'm not just gonna give you the generic, oh yeah, listen to a podcast on your daily commute to work advice, although that advice is great as well. But I have 2 techniques that you can actually combine that will make listening to a podcast way more effective. The first one I like to call a keyword hunt, keyword challenge. Before listening to an episode, pick a focus. I don't know, you want to listen to a podcast episode in French and you are currently working on passé composé. So you pick passé composé as your focus, and when you listen, you try to notice as many words in that tense as possible. You can do this with grammar, but you can also do this with just different subjects, different themes. So let's say that you're gonna listen to an episode about the environment. Words pertinent to the environment are gonna be your focus. You try to find at least, let's say, 5 words that are relevant to that topic. For example, the environment, carbon footprint, global warming, stuff like that. And then if you like, you can obviously write them down. After you are finished with the podcast episode, you can summarize it. One great tip, if you are in public, take your phone and pretend that you are recording a voice note. Because people do it all the time and no one's gonna think that you're doing something weird. I don't think anyone is even gonna notice. And just literally say a few sentences. This is a 15-minute technique, so we are not writing a full summary, a full review. Again, if you want to write everything down, you can literally just do bullet points. That works too. The point is that we just want to train our active skills and make sure that you actually understood the content. Strategy number 3 is super simple but powerful, and you can do it literally anywhere. Look around and describe what's happening, or look back on something that happened during the day. You can try speaking out loud. Again, if you're in public, you can just pretend that you are recording a voice note, or you can just write everything down in bullet points. Maybe you're on the bus and you see something strange or confusing happening. Then it will naturally push you to look up words so that you can describe that situation. Maybe you see someone and you want to describe what they're wearing. Then you might learn words to describe different patterns or different fabrics. So many different possibilities. When new vocab is tied to real life experiences, it tends to stick much better. For example, I remember when I used to live in France, I met up with one of my friends and we were talking, and I wanted to say that someone had curly hair, but I didn't know how to say curly. So I looked it up on the spot and I said it out loud. And I remember to this day where I was, who I was with, and how to say curly in French. When you use that new word immediately, it sticks even better. So write it down or say it out loud and you will remember that word forever. So it's a very simple and effective exercise for building your active vocab and sentence formation, both of which are very valuable skills. Strategy number 4 involves I think one of my favorite topics ever, which is reading. I love reading. There are actually 2 ways you can do this. The first one is extensive reading. So you just pick an article or a book chapter and you read without stopping. You absorb new vocab and grammar and context and you just enjoy what you're reading. 15 minutes is great for building a habit and getting exposure to the language naturally. The second one is called intensive reading. So you pick a paragraph from a book or an article or a short story, 1 page maximum, and then you read it slowly and analyze the text. So you look up words you don't know, you underline interesting phrases and words, you take notes on grammar points that you want to remember. If you have time, you can read it twice or even 3 times, but even if you read it once, that's fine too. Intensive reading is great because it combines reading comprehension, vocab, and grammar practice in one short exercise. And the best part is that you absolutely do not need to carry a whole book around. These exercises were designed to be on the go. You can pick a news article on your phone or look up a short story. Of course, if you're at home, feel free to pick up a book, but if you're on the go, this technique works really well too. And the last one is honestly one of my favorite exercises. It works well across all levels, but especially if you are not comfortable with speaking yet. The idea is to prepare safe scripts for everyday situations, because let's be real, most everyday situations are super predictable, like going to the bank, going to the grocery store, to the post office, or even small talk. You usually know how the conversation will start, how it will end, what questions you're gonna ask, what vocab you're gonna need. Start by picking a scenario and writing 3 to 5 sentences. Let's say that you want to work on introducing yourself, so write a few sentences. If there are words that you don't know, feel free to look them up. But the key is to practice saying those things out loud, because then in the future, when you actually have to introduce yourself in your target language, your brain is just gonna think, okay, this is very easy, I've done this many times before. If it's a situation like being at the restaurant, you can practice ordering food or asking for the bill. And if it's a dialogue, you can even role play both sides and kind of think, okay, if I order food, what is the waiter gonna say? Or if I ask for the bill, what are they gonna reply? I used to do this a lot when I first moved to France, and I remember specifically when I went to the bank to open my bank account, I wrote down in my notes app how to say, hi, I would like to open a bank account. And then I wrote down a few different words that I thought that I could possibly need in that situation. And I practiced saying them out loud at home before I left. I went and I knew how to say everything and I was very confident. And you know, when you are confident, words just flow out of your mouth and it makes the whole experience a lot smoother. So I highly recommend this exercise. All right, that's it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments which exercise you are going to try first. And don't forget that if you have more time than 15 minutes, then you can stack them. You can do 2, 3, 4, or even all 5 if you want. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.